I was merging onto the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, heading to LAX to catch my red-eye flight to Chicago, when my phone buzzed with an incoming text message at exactly 3:42 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. The dashboard display showed it was from my brother Marcus, and I naturally assumed he was sending final details about Dad's funeral arrangements. We'd been coordinating the service for 3 days since Dad passed away from his sudden heart attack, and I'd been flying back and forth between my Los Angeles headquarters and our hometown to help with every aspect of the preparations. Traffic was heavy as usual on the 405, so I pulled into the next rest area to read the message safely. What I saw on my phone screen made my blood run completely cold and my hands start trembling. Don't come to Dad's funeral tomorrow. Family only, you're not welcome. We've decided you don't belong with us anymore. Find your own way to say goodbye. Don't bother trying to change our minds. Marcus. I stared at the message for a full 3 minutes, reading it over and over to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding something crucial. My younger brother, the golden child who'd never worked a genuine day in his life, was telling me I wasn't welcome at our father's funeral. The same brother who'd been living off family money for the past decade while I built my business empire from absolutely nothing, working 18-hour days and sacrificing everything for success. My hands were shaking as I scrolled up through our recent message history, looking for clues about what had changed. Just yesterday morning, Marcus had been texting me constantly, asking me to cover additional funeral expenses because Dad deserves only the absolute best, and money shouldn't be an object during this time. I'd immediately transferred $15,000 to Peaceful Meadows Funeral Home for their premium service package. The mahogany casket with brass handles, the elaborate flower arrangements from the city's most expensive florist, the catered reception for 200 people with an open bar and 3-course meal. But apparently, paying for the entire funeral didn't earn me the right to actually attend it. I immediately called Marcus, but it went straight to voicemail with his typically arrogant outgoing message. Then I called my sister Jennifer, my stepmother Patricia, my cousin David, even my Aunt Susan. Every single call went directly to voicemail. They'd clearly coordinated this together, holding some kind of family meeting where they collectively decided that I was no longer part of the Morrison family. The irony was absolutely devastating and infuriating. For the past 5 years, I'd been secretly funding their entire comfortable lifestyle through what they believed was Dad's successful investment portfolio. The truth was, Dad had been nearly bankrupt when I quietly took over all his finances 3 years ago. His mounting medical bills, the second mortgage on the family home, Marcus's graduate school loans, Jennifer's wedding expenses, Patricia's shopping addiction, the country club memberships, the luxury cars, everything had been paid for by my funeral home empire, Morrison Memorial Services. Yes, the business I'd built from scratch with my own blood, sweat, and tears was named after our family. I'd started with one small, struggling funeral home in Carson City, Nevada, using every penny of my savings and a massive business loan. Over 8 years, I'd grown it into a network of 67 prime locations across the western United States, serving major metropolitan areas from Los Angeles to Phoenix to Denver. Annual revenue of $420 million. We handled over 15,000 services per year, including some of the most prestigious and wealthy families in California, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, and Colorado. And now they were telling me I couldn't attend my own father's funeral at a facility I owned outright. I pulled out my phone and dialed the number I knew by heart, the direct line to my flagship location. Peaceful Meadows Funeral Home, this is Amanda Richardson speaking. How may I help you during this difficult time? Amanda, this is Ms. Emily Carter, owner and CEO of Morrison Memorial Services. I need you to immediately cancel the Morrison family service scheduled for tomorrow morning. There was a shocked pause. Ma'am, that's an extremely large service with significant preparations already underway. We've been working around the clock for 3 days. Are you absolutely certain about this decision? Completely certain. Cancel everything immediately. The viewing, the funeral service, the burial, the reception. Refund nothing to the family. The Morrison family has chosen to handle their arrangements elsewhere. But Miss Carter, they've already paid the $15,000 deposit, and we've prepared everything according to their very specific and detailed requests. The flowers alone cost $3,000. The deposit stays with us as a cancellation fee for the inconvenience and last-minute change. Box up all the flowers and donate them to local hospitals and nursing homes. The catering can be redirected to homeless shelters and food banks. And Amanda? Add the Morrison family name to our permanent no-service list across all 67 locations nationwide. Understood completely. I'll implement this immediately and notify all our regional managers and facility directors. Also, send a detailed cancellation notice to the family within the hour. Make sure they understand that Morrison Memorial Services will not be providing any services for them, now or in the future. After hanging up, I sat in my car for several minutes, my heart pounding as I thought about how our family had reached this absolutely toxic point. The Morrison family had always been complicated and competitive, but I'd never imagined they'd stoop to this level of pure cruelty. Growing up, I was always the responsible one, the achiever, the child who took care of everyone else's problems. While Marcus partied his way through college on Dad's dime and Jennifer focused exclusively on finding a wealthy husband, I worked 3 jobs to put myself through business school at night. When I graduated with my MBA, I started working at Henderson Funeral Home to learn the death care industry from the ground up. The work was difficult, emotionally demanding, often heartbreaking, but I found deep meaning in helping families navigate their darkest moments with dignity and respect. Within 2 years of grueling work and careful saving, I'd accumulated enough capital to buy my first funeral home in Carson City, Nevada. It was small, struggling financially, understaffed, but I saw enormous potential. I worked 18-hour days, 7 days a week, learning every single aspect of the business: embalming techniques, grief counseling, estate planning, cemetery management, even groundskeeping and facility maintenance. I treated every family like they were my own relatives, ensuring their loved ones received respectful, compassionate care regardless of their financial situation or social status. The business grew rapidly through word-of-mouth recommendations. Families who experienced our caring service told other families. My reputation for integrity, compassion, and professionalism spread throughout Nevada, then California, then across the entire Southwest. I reinvested every single penny of profit back into the company, acquiring struggling funeral homes and transforming them into profitable, respected establishments that served their communities with excellence. By the time Dad's health started seriously declining 3 years ago, Morrison Memorial Services was generating enough revenue to quietly cover all our family's mounting expenses. Dad never knew his astronomical medical bills were being paid by my company. He thought his old insurance policy was still active and comprehensive. Marcus never knew his student loans were being covered by what I told him was a family education trust. Jennifer assumed Dad was paying for her children's private school tuition and her husband's business expenses. I'd been the invisible financial safety net, ensuring our family never worried about money while they continued to treat me like the black sheep who'd chosen a morbid and depressing career path that embarrassed them at social gatherings. My phone rang with an incoming call. Marcus's name flashed on the screen. "Emily, what the hell did you do?" he screamed before I could even say hello, his voice shrill with panic and rage. "Hello, Marcus. How's your evening going so far?" "The funeral home just called. They said our entire service is cancelled. They said we're permanently banned from all their locations." "What did you tell them?" "I told them the truth. That the Morrison family no longer requires their services. This is completely insane. You can't just cancel Dad's funeral like this." "Actually, I can. Since I paid for everything and since I'm apparently no longer considered family, I figured you'd prefer to handle the arrangements yourselves. You paid the deposit, but we're still family. You can't do this to Dad." "Family." I laughed, but there was no humor in it whatsoever. "According to your text message 2 hours ago, I'm not family anymore. I quote, you don't belong with us anymore." There was stunned silence on the other end of the line. "Emily, I didn't mean it like that. We were just upset about some recent things." "What things, Marcus? What exactly am I being punished for this time?" "Well, Patricia said you've been acting superior lately. Like you think you're better than all of us because you have some money now." "What money, Marcus? Please enlighten me about this money I supposedly have." "Your business. Everyone knows funeral homes make decent money if you run them right." I pulled up my laptop and opened the comprehensive financial records I'd been dreading to show them for years. "Let's talk about money, shall we? In the past 3 years alone, how much do you think Dad spent on medical expenses?" "I don't know. Maybe $50,000 total? His insurance covered most of everything." $347,000, Marcus. His insurance was canceled 2 years ago when he couldn't make the premium payments anymore. Complete silence. And your graduate school loans? The ones you thought Dad was generously paying off. Those are like $30,000 total, maybe $35,000. $127,000. Plus accumulated interest. Paid in full last year by Morrison Memorial Services. More stunned silence. Jennifer's kids' private school tuition? Her elaborate wedding expenses? Patricia's credit card bills that seem to grow every month? The second mortgage on the family house that Dad supposedly paid off years ago. Emily, what exactly are you trying to say here? I'm saying that for the past 3 years, every single expense in this family has been covered by Morrison Memorial Services. My company. The funeral home empire you all think is so morbid and beneath our family's social status. That's completely impossible. Is it really? Did you honestly think Dad had $400,000 plus in medical expenses covered by insurance that didn't exist? Did you think his modest pension was generating enough income to pay for Jennifer's $60,000 wedding, your graduate school, Patricia's shopping addiction, and everyone's living expenses? I could hear him breathing heavily, struggling to process this information. Morrison Memorial Services, Marcus. 67 locations across 6 states. $420 million in annual revenue. I didn't just choose a career in funeral services, I built a massive empire from nothing. And that empire has been keeping this entire family financially afloat while you all look down on me and my depressing career choice. You're lying. This has to be some kind of joke. Am I lying? Check the payment records for Dad's last hospital stay at Cedars-Sinai. Check who paid off the family house when Dad defaulted on the mortgage 2 years ago. Check who's been covering Patricia's credit cards, your apartment rent, Jennifer's children's educational expenses. Very long pause. Why didn't you ever tell us about this? Because I knew exactly this would happen. I knew you'd all suddenly start treating me differently, start asking for money constantly, start seeing me as a personal bank instead of your sister. So what happens now? What's your plan here? Now you figure out how to pay for Dad's funeral yourselves. And all those monthly payments that have been magically appearing in your accounts for years? Those stop tonight at midnight. Emily, please. We can't possibly afford Dad's funeral without your help. You should have thought about that before excluding me from the family. We'll just call other funeral homes in the area. I almost laughed out loud. Good luck with that approach. Peaceful Meadows was the only facility in the entire county with availability this week. The next closest option is Henderson Memorial, but they're completely booked solid for the next 6 weeks. You can't do this. Dad deserves a proper funeral service. Dad deserves many things. He deserved children who treated each other with respect and love. He deserved honesty about our family's true financial situation. He deserved much better than what he got from all of us. What do you want from us? What will it take to fix this? I want you to understand that actions have real consequences. You decided I wasn't family. So now you can handle family business without my involvement or financial support. How much would it cost to reinstate the service? I considered this question carefully. It's not about money anymore, Marcus. It's about respect. About treating people with basic human decency, especially family members. We're sorry, okay? We made a terrible mistake. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust that took years to destroy through neglect and disrespect. So you're really going to let Dad be buried without a proper service? I'm not doing anything to Dad. You're the ones who created this entire situation. After I hung up, my phone immediately started buzzing with desperate calls from Jennifer, Patricia, Cousin David, Aunt Susan, even some distant relatives I hadn't heard from in years. I let every single call go to voicemail, then turned off my phone completely. 20 minutes later, I turned my phone back on to check messages. There were 14 voicemails and 37 text messages. I listened to one from Jennifer, who was sobbing hysterically. Emily, please answer your phone. I know we messed up terribly. I know what Marcus said was horrible and unforgivable. But please don't punish Dad because we were stupid and jealous. I decided to call her back. Emily, thank God. Please, we need to talk about this. I'm listening, Jennifer. I know we've been terrible to you. I know what Marcus said about the funeral was cruel and wrong. But please don't punish Dad because we were idiots. I'm not punishing Dad, Jennifer. I'm protecting myself from a family that clearly doesn't value me or my contributions. We do value you. We were jealous, okay? You've always been so successful, so independent, so put together. We felt inadequate and stupid by comparison. So you decided to exclude me from Dad's funeral? That was your solution. It was Patricia's idea initially. She said you made her feel stupid at the hospital when you knew more about Dad's insurance situation than she did. I closed my eyes, feeling exhausted. Jennifer, I knew about Dad's insurance because I've been paying his medical bills for 3 years. What do you mean? Everything, Jennifer. Your mortgage payments, your kids' school tuition, Marcus's loans, Patricia's credit cards, the family house payments. All of it. Every expense. Paid by my company for years. She was quiet for a very long time. Why didn't you ever tell us about this? Because I wanted our family relationships to be about love and genuine connection, not money. I wanted you to include me in family events because you cared about me, not because I was paying everyone's bills. Oh my God, Emily. We had absolutely no idea. I know you didn't. That was exactly the point. Can we fix this somehow? Can we make this right? I thought about it carefully. Maybe. But it starts with understanding that family doesn't exclude family. Ever. For any reason. And it requires genuine changes in how we treat each other. What would it take to reinstate Dad's service? A genuine, heartfelt apology from Marcus. And a promise that this kind of exclusionary behavior never happens again in our family. I'll make sure he calls you within the hour. And Jennifer? After the funeral, we need to have a serious family meeting about finances, about honesty, about how we communicate with each other. Yes. Absolutely. Whatever it takes. An hour later, Marcus called back. His tone was completely different, humble, ashamed, genuine. Emily, I owe you the most massive apology of my life. Jennifer explained about the medical bills, about everything you've been doing for our family behind the scenes. I'm listening. I was hurt and jealous and insecure, and I took it out on you in the worst possible way. Excluding you from Dad's funeral was cruel, unforgivable, and completely wrong. Why were you hurt, Marcus? Help me understand. Because you seemed so successful, so confident, so put together all the time. And I felt like a complete failure in comparison. Instead of being proud of my sister's achievements, I resented you for making me feel inadequate. Marcus, success isn't a competition between siblings. We're supposed to support each other. I know that now. I should have known it all along. Emily, will you please reinstate Dad's service? I'll cover all the costs myself if I have to take out massive loans. I smiled for the first time in hours. The service is already reinstated. I called Amanda back 30 minutes ago. Really? You already fixed it? Really? Dad will have the beautiful funeral he deserves. But Marcus. Yes. This conversation we're having right now? This honesty, this accountability, this willingness to apologize and change? This is what family actually sounds like. Remember this feeling. I will. I promise. And Emily. Yeah. Thank you. For everything. For taking care of all of us even when we didn't deserve it and treated you terribly. 2 days later, Dad's funeral was absolutely beautiful. The mahogany casket I'd personally selected, the elaborate flower arrangements, the heartfelt eulogies from his friends and colleagues, the reception where people shared wonderful memories. Marcus spoke movingly about Dad's integrity and work ethic. Jennifer talked about his sense of humor and his love for his grandchildren. I spoke about his capacity for forgiveness and his unwavering belief in second chances for people who genuinely wanted to change. After the service, our extended family and Dad's friends gathered at the reception. Patricia approached me with tears streaming down her face. Emily, I owe you a sincere apology. I was the one who initially suggested excluding you from the funeral, and it was petty, wrong, and came from my own insecurities. What made you feel that way, Patricia? I want to understand. I felt completely inadequate around you. You seemed to know so much about everything: business, finances, Dad's medical situation. I felt stupid by comparison. Instead of asking for help or admitting my ignorance, I got defensive and resentful. Patricia, intelligence isn't about knowing everything. It's about being willing to learn, grow, and ask questions when you need help. Will you teach me? About business, about financial planning? I want to become more independent and contribute more to our family. I smiled genuinely. I'd be honored to help you learn. Over the following months, our family dynamics changed completely and dramatically. Marcus enrolled in business school and started working part-time at one of my funeral homes to learn the industry from the ground up. Jennifer began taking active responsibility for managing our family's finances more carefully and transparently. Patricia started a small event planning business, focusing specifically on memorial services and celebrations of life. For the first time in years, our family dinners were about genuine connection, shared goals, and mutual support rather than hidden resentments and unspoken financial stress. We talked openly about money, about individual goals, about how we could support each other's dreams while maintaining healthy boundaries. 6 months after Dad's funeral, I promoted Marcus to assistant manager at our Carson City location. He'd shown genuine dedication and growth, working his way up from groundskeeper to administrative assistant to grief counselor trainee. "I never thought I'd say this," he told me one evening as we closed the office together, "but I genuinely love this work. Helping families during their most difficult moments, providing comfort and dignity during grief. It's incredibly meaningful." "Dad would be so proud of the man you're becoming," I said. "He would be. And Emily?" "Yeah. I'm proud to be your brother. And I'm proud that you never gave up on our family, even when we gave up on ourselves and treated you terribly." Jennifer's children started spending weekends with me, learning about business, responsibility, and the value of hard work. Patricia's event planning company was thriving, and she'd even partnered with several of our locations to provide comprehensive memorial reception services. As I looked around our family dinner table one Sunday evening 6 months later, I realized that sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is allowing them to experience the real consequences of their actions. Not as cruel punishment but as an opportunity to grow, to change, to become the people they're truly capable of being. Dad's funeral had ended up being exactly what he would have wanted, a catalyst for bringing his family together in truth, in love, and in genuine respect for one another. The Morrison family had finally learned what it meant to actually be a family,